it's Moe Soda here, and welcome back to my channel. I have a little bit of a different video for you guys. Recently I've been thinking maybe my anime shelving isn't up to par. Maybe I need some more. I definitely need some more space. Number one, I need some more space quick because I got a bunch of figures for Christmas. I got a bunch of figures from Katsucon, and I have a bunch more coming in as we speak. So I definitely need more shelving for my anime figures, and I'm pretty particular about my anime figure shelving just because most bookshelves or storage shelves that you get are really deep. And I really don't like how deep they are, because if I'm going to put a figure on a shelf and I'm just going to be using it for figure storage, I want it to be pretty shallow so that the light doesn't get trapped in there, and so that, you know, you can see all of my anime figures and you don't have to like shine a flashlight in there to get in and see what's going on with the anime figure. So I have two Detolf cases that I use for my expensive figures, or figures that I definitely don't want dust on, that I don't want to have to dust every day or every week or whatever your dusting schedule is. But I do want to incorporate my manga into my shelf and anime merchandise that I pick up, like posters and cloth posters and, you know, other types of merch that I get. I don't know what else do I get? Yeah, I don't know. But you know what I mean. So I went out to IKEA to find the perfect anime figure shelf, and boy did I find it. So for today's video, I'm gonna show you guys some anime figure shelving on a budget, because, you know, I spend tons of money on anime figures, but I don't feel like spending a lot of money on the shelving for displaying the figures, you know, because like $50 is an anime figure. $100 is almost an anime figure. I want to spend all of my money on that instead of displaying them. However, I do want to keep them nice and clean and tidy, and I would like for people to come over and be able to look at all of my anime figures and, you know, I don't know. I don't know. So today I'm going to be putting together an IKEA bookshelf and setting up the lights inside of them, because I do think lighting for your anime figure shelf is essential. So here is my anime figure shelving on a budget. Alright guys, are you ready to put some IKEA furniture together? I know I am. I love putting IKEA furniture together. So as you can see, the shelf that I picked for this video is called the Gersby. If you are going to go to IKEA to pick this up, it is the Gersby shelf. At the time that I purchased this shelf, it was $40, I believe. So it's a pretty cheap shelf. It's kind of flimsy. I don't know. I think it's perfect for what I'm using it for. Obviously, if you're going to put a million books on it, I probably wouldn't do that with this one, but for what I was using this for, it was super perfect, and it's a pretty shallow shelf in general, so I was confident that it would fit a lot of anime figures with the lighting and look really nice. So right now I'm just putting together the shelf. A couple things that you're gonna need when you're building the shelf is a hammer and a drill, or like a handheld drill, like a Dremel, and a couple different drill bits or screw drill bits or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, so. But yeah, so you'll need that. I would just follow the directions that IKEA gives you in this one, just because I could explain it to you, but it would be really pointless if you didn't have the instructions in front of you. So yeah, so right now I'm just building the shelf. It's a pretty easy shelf to put together. I didn't have any issues. As you can see, I have one in the background already. I had purchased one and put it together, and I really liked how it turned out, so I went back to IKEA to get another one, and that is the one that you are seeing right now. I would recommend, you can see me in this video, putting the shelf on top of the cardboard that it comes in, just because I have hardwood floors and I rent from my apartment, so I didn't want to ruin the floor by putting the shelf on it and scratching it up. It also helps when you're moving this shelf around, as you'll see like later on in the video. It helps, the cardboard helps to like give you a barrier, and it's easier to move it around. So now I'm just hammering the backing on. This is what you're gonna need the hammer for. There's like a million different tiny little nails that help keep this backing on. I didn't use all of the nails in this, but if I were to do it again, I'd probably just put them in there just for security reasons, you know, make sure that backing doesn't come off. Evie just ran out of the room because I was banging. I warned her, but she decided to stay in the window. But yeah, so I would place them pretty evenly apart. You don't want the backing to come off. All right, and now that I have the backing on, I'm just I'm scooting it over to the spot where I'm going to put my shelf. And right here is where you can see the cardboard comes in handy, because if you need to move the shelf, you won't scratch up your floor, you won't scratch up the shelf. Here is the lighting that I got. It is called Ledberg. And here are the little plastic pieces that are gonna hide your cords going from the front of the bookshelf to the back. And as you can see, I'm just taking that little plastic piece and measuring out on the shelf where I wanna put it and making sure that I'm tracing the exact shape. This will come in handy later on because you'll need to use your Dremel to drill out the hole. And the more perfect that you get the shape of this, the easier the piece of plastic is going to fit in there when you're trying to set up the actual lighting. So I'm just going down the entire shelf and doing that for all of the shelves. And here's the Dremel that I have. I have one large bit that I'm showing you right now, and then I have also a smaller bit, and the smaller bit I'm using just for precision to get that nice angle in there so that the piece of plastic fits perfectly. As you can see, my little markings, I'm just going in with my Dremel very carefully, and guys, super careful, because you're at a really awkward angle, and if you slip, you'll make the hole bigger, or you'll scratch up the other parts of the shelf that you don't want holes in. So I'd be super careful with this part. 2 hands if you feel out of control. And I do want to mention that this particular setup doesn't light up the bottom shelf. I didn't really feel it necessary to light up the bottom part of the shelf. And here's a close-up so that you can see exactly how I'm doing it. I'm just going in and carving out the shape very slowly and delicately, trying to be, oh, and there goes my drill bit. Well, that's embarrassing. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I'm just going back in and very delicately carving it out. I lift up the shelf to make sure that the hole that I'm making is big enough and it's covered up by the shelf if not. So here I'm just making sure the hole is exactly the shape. The more precise you get the shape, the better that the shelf will look. If you accidentally go off of your markings, it's not a big deal. It doesn't look terrible. It's just if you can get the perfect shape in there, it looks better, obviously. And as you can see, it takes a little bit of finessing to get the shape completely right for each hole that you're making, and just take your time with it. It probably took me about 1 to 2 hours to build and put the lighting in. So I would just take your time, make sure you're getting perfect little half circle holes in your shelving, making sure that you're not letting the Dremel slip and scratch up the bottom parts of your shelf. And here is the finished product. This is what I did on my other shelving unit. So as you can see, I put them out towards the sides of the shelves at an angle because I wanted to make sure that the entire shelf was lit up and not just the middle part where the lights are sticking out. So if you feel like you want to do that, go ahead and do that as well. If not, you can just put them straight out from where we've made the holes. And here I'm just threading the lighting through the plastic pieces. And here's a close-up of what I'm doing, so you know. Yeah, so you just slide this piece out, and my fingernails definitely hurt with this one. And they're kind of hard to do. You see me struggling right now. But yeah, so you just slide this piece out, and then you thread the piece of wire that's going to connect to the actual LED light through the plastic piece, and then you put you slide the plastic piece back in place with the wire inside of it. There we go. Done deal. And you're just going to repeat this for both sets of lights. Each pack comes with 4 lights, and I use 2 packs for 1 shelf, which kind of makes a little bit of a wire nightmare in the back of the shelf, but as long as you keep it pretty organized, I don't think it should be an issue. And here I'm threading the plastic pieces through the holes that I've made and taping the lighting to the back of the shelf. I just like to have it all organized when I'm gonna, plug it in. And here I'm taking the sticky tape that is provided with these LED lights. I'm sticking them to the plastic pieces and to the lighting, and then I'm grabbing the wire and attaching the light to the wire, and then attaching the sticky part and sticking them to the top of the shelf. And you can see the light is coming out at an angle. If you feel like that might be too hard to make it look symmetrical for every single shelf, you can just keep it straight out from there. And eventually your shelf will look like this with the sticky tape not exactly holding right. To fix this, I would just use some actual 3M tape, double stick tape. But yeah, so here's the finished shelf. I think it looks super good. You can see one shelf is empty and one I have stuff on. This shelf actually really super shines the best at night. It definitely has a presence in the room. Here is my crazy light, my crazy cord situation. And now I'm just gonna start piling in my manga that I had been waiting for a shelf to put out. They had been packed up since I moved, like literally last year. But yeah, so here I'm just like setting up all my anime figures, just so you can get a good idea of how many anime figures can fit and what it kind of looks like when the lights are on and all of that. I can fit a pretty good amount of anime figures in this shelf. And here it is in the daylight with all of my anime figures set up. I think it looks so cute. And I definitely chose white because I think white reflects the light a lot better than, you know, natural wood or dark shelving. I actually used to have a lot of dark shelving, but I got rid of it because white just bounces light and you can see the anime figures a lot better. And here is the lighting during the daytime. It is still pretty daylight out right now, but the shelf lights up the figures, I think, pretty well. It is kind of yellowy looking on camera, but in person it isn't super yellow. But here's where it super shines. Nighttime, everything looks so good, and I just think it like really shows off the figures quite well, especially if you put the lighting angled out this. And some more shots of this at nighttime. As you can see, the bottom shelf is not lit up at all, but I don't really care about that armor, so I think it still looks good. And here is kind of, you get an idea of how I like to set up my figure shelves. I don't like to just have one figure on a shelf by itself. I really like to incorporate all of my merch, and I like to show off all of the things that I've acquired while being a weeb with my anime figures. So that was my anime figure shelving on a budget. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I will try my best to answer them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!